Hey guys, Ridiculous Badger coming at you from Planet 545. I know what some of you guys are thinking to yourself, Badger, this is all well and good. You're talking about optimum math stuff. But unfortunately, in the real world, sometimes we have to make decisions, and those decisions don't always hold up the test of time. But I'm pot committed now, so I can't change troop types. I realize that I'm not playing the correct one, but this is me now. So fortunately for all of you guys, if you realize, like, hey, you made a decision to play a particular troop type, and later on you realize, like, oh shoot, that was a bad decision, it's not the end of the world. It really, really isn't. As long as you are focused on a transition, you can absolutely get it done, and in a few months probably you'll be able to look at it in the rear view mirror. The number one thing is stop putting resources into your old troop type. Once you realize that it's time to shift, or once you lose confidence in your troop type, just stop investing. You can always do it later. This game is not so much about making the right decisions as it is about not making the wrong decisions. If you realize something is not the perfect decision, just stop. Nothing is forcing you to do it. The number one thing with switching over after you stop is don't absorb your old comm. It's not time yet. Eventually, you will do that. Hopefully, if I could convince you, you will do that. It will be in your best interest. And honestly, if you don't see it now, I have a feeling that you'll see it later. That sounds cocky as hell. At any rate, the most important thing that you want to do when you get started with this is you want to focus on research. You want to get to your Mastery 2 as quickly as possible. From there, you want to max it out to whatever level your lab allows you, and you want to just start pumping this higher level research. The reason that you just want to skip all the way to the right and then work your way from right to left is that if this were your main, I'm guessing you stayed at a few of them for like multiple levels and you gained some additional percentages there. But here we're later than when you should be doing this stuff, right? You have to maximize what your return is for the stats that you're upgrading. So get your Mastery 2 maxed out, then start moving on the number 2s, then you're going to hit your Mastery, and then just keep working your way to the left. Once you get in the place where you've gotten a few Mastery 2s under your belt, and then you're starting to get onto these 2s further on, it's time to start deploying the new troop type. Because, for a while, your old troop type is going to be better. So start building up tier 1s. Basically all day, build tier 1s. At night, before you go to bed, build a full stack in each barracks of tier 2. And use the Officer Club? Is that what? Warriors Club? Use the Warriors Club to always be evolving a full stack of T2. Because eventually you're going to use your T1, and you want to use them for as much as possible. But your T2 are going to be your workhorse for a very long time. Until your research exceeds your old troop type research, you're going to be using tier 2. From there, don't build tier 3 or 4. You can build tier 5, which for the money, it is an improvement. I'm not a huge fan these days of tier 7, but if you're not going advanced tier, which, if we're having this conversation, you're probably not, then you're going to need some T7, but the vast majority of what you deploy is going to be T2. For a commander, you want to, once again, stop pumping leadership into your old comm, but don't absorb it, because you're going to continue to use it. The time to absorb your old main comm is when your new troops research meets or exceeds your old troops research. Then you will get as seamless a transition as possible. So, as far as who your new comm should be, you want to pick a 1-slot bust comm, because this will minimize the amount of investment that you have to put into troops. This way you could field one slot and it's going to be effective. And those are comms like Stella or the X, Hoodoo, Golem, Rayman. Comms like that are very strong transition comms for you. Maybe you're going to move away from one slot bust comms later, but at least in the transition, they're going to do a lot for you. And if they're a free comm, how much more so, you'll get a good return on that. For leadership on the comm, 15k is significant, 10k is significant, 20k, anything much north of that, and you're just not getting the benefit that you would if you just waited, unless there's an ad leadership event, wait, continue to field your old troop type, then when your research meets your old troop types, then you could eat your old main comm, and you'll get some serious return on any additional leadership that you would apply there. As far as skills go, the most important skill all the time, the vast majority of the time, is going to be the second skill. I would pump that up. If you could get it up to 30 or 40 during the transition, that would be great. And Awakening is going to help you. Remember, Awakening procs 60% of the time. In general, your main skill procs about 40% of the time, although we know that there are differences. So putting your resources into upping those skills is more beneficial. You see a higher return than, say, putting your resources into upping a 20% trigger rate skill. So all of this is about maximizing your return and minimizing the cost of the changes. Also gear. Okay, so for gear, first of all, you want to transfer over whatever kind of shared, universal gear that you can. This is event gear, this is faction pants, it's stuff like your Devastation helmet, Apocalyptor, Black Knight, the Nixa, all of that stuff, Skywalkers, those are all really easy to transition over. You want to take, you're not going to be taking your main gear set from your main comm yet. Don't cannibalize the stuff in there. Pick strong gear from your secondary comms, move over whatever's universal. You'll just have to, as time goes on, swap gear and get event gear to kind of fill in the gaps. At the next upgrade Melange event, you're going to want to look on upgrading the gear, but don't chuck a ton of Melange in here, because remember, this is all transitional stuff. Now, you can deal with the fact that you have gems that don't necessarily work. You're probably going to need to change the gems, or you can, if you have a ton of gems, you can inlay subpar versions of the gems you think you want to go for. But the best solution I find for this transition with gems is to put Gemini and Libra on the gear that you give to who's going to become your new main. And just keep in mind that the Gemini and Libra stuff that you throw on there, it might be hodgepodge, so I wouldn't throw the best gems on there. But if you got 20% gems or 15, throw that on there, because stats is better than no stats, of course, and skill procs is better than no skill procs. Everyone loves having extra skills, so, you're going to have to take a look at your reserves in gems, in gear, in Melange, in magazines, all of this stuff, and you're going to have to make decisions that are right for you. But I'm sure you find that if you focus on one thing at a time, starting with research, you develop on the back burner who's going to be your new main comm, but you don't throw away your old main comm, and as time goes on, you'll get that research up there, and when the research of the new troop type meets or exceeds the research of the old troop type, you're rocking and rolling, and it's time to finish up that transition and fill out some more comms.